Can you hear me?
I can. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your girl, Carly Whitney, Director of Leagues and Events for Ohio Basketball. I'm over the Elite 40 and the NE2K. This is the official first episode of your League Link Up, live with John Albert from Lady Bradley Beal, member of Elite 40. We are a little early today on the release of this episode due to some flight conditions, John, so thank you for joining us.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got some difficulties for sure.
That's okay. Love the
With,
headphones on you. Looking
with,
good. Haven't seen you since July. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I had a good August and good September, so I'm feeling good.
Good, good, good. Well, thanks for joining us. So basically what we talk about on the League Link Up is, as members of Elite 40 and Grassroots as an independent circuit, we are just having the pleasure of bringing some of our coaches, some of our supporters, and some of our fans on to try to catch up and try to connect the dots with this grassroots world, whether it's, male, female, whatever it is, how we're getting together to connect with her and get better together. So thanks for
Hmm.
joining us, John. So just getting into it right now, John, like what's your background? Obviously you're a coach with Lady Bradley Bill Elite 40 teams playing in our circuits at Ohio basketball events, but really what's your background? How'd you get into coaching? What do you really do?
So how I got into coaching, I always tell this story. It's a funny story. I come from um, a high school that's legendary, Vashon High School. All right, and I was actually a guy that I was a baseball guy. All
Oh,
right, and basketball was like a
you play
spare
you
time
play
thing.
baseball?
Yeah, I played baseball. I
Okay.
know it cracks people up, right? Uh, but I was a baseball guy playing basketball, and I was a kid that my AAU team was really really good. All my AAU team members went to the same high school, which was Vashon. And when it came time, my junior year, I got cut, right? I got cut, went off of varsity, and cut me. And the first thing he said to me the next day was, "I think you're gonna be a really good basketball coach one day." He's like,
Really?
but he said, but I know you're not gonna be satisfied with just being on the team.
Right.
And he was like, just get into coaching basketball. And so, funny story is, probably not even a month later, I was coaching Little League basketball at Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club. And one of the first teams I was coaching on, Bradley Beal played on, which was called Team St. Louis. The head coach was Rick Wilson, and I was, and it all came full circle. And so then when you look at, how I got to where I am today, it's been a lot to go into it. I ended up taking a team called St. Louis Hoops, which was a St. Louis grassroots girls basketball program out of Matthews Dickey. That was my first team. They were seventh grade. I was every bit of 18 years old, 17 years old, coaching them, and it just kind of grew from there. And so now we're here
Wow.
to now we're here today. I'm back full circle coaching with Brad Bill Elite, who I've been
How
with
amazing.
now. Yeah, it's when I tell people the actual story of how I got to where I am with this, when it comes to coaching, AAU basketball, when it comes to coaching high school basketball at the Shine, a place that I graduated from,
Yeah.
and then get an opportunity to coach at OTE. It's just, it's been a fun ride for the last 23 years.
Wow.
And when I tell people that they're like 23 years, it's like,
You
yeah.
don't you don't look a hair past 24.
Well, I think the grades are starting to show a little bit.
That's a really dope story. I can relate to you as a
Mhm.
high school coach myself and coaching at my alma mater at St. Vincent St. Mary. Like it is special.
Yeah.
It's a special place to come back full circle, you know what I mean, and to give back to the place that was good to you,
Hmm.
and not invested, you're invested in a different way
Yeah.
because you are the product that you're also producing. So did I also hear through the grapevine you may have won a couple state championships or something, so you're good at this thing too?
I
Oh,
have been a part of actually six coaching, five as an assistant, one as a girls head coach at Vashon. It's the first in Vashon school history. I also
nice.
finished third place 4 years ago. And so just being able to take over Vashon girls basketball is something that, wasn't so great before I took it over. This will be year
Yeah.
8 for me, but we have been in the discussion of, Final Four or, won a state title in the last 3 years. It's been something special, especially for our community that's, it's not known for girls basketball at all. It's always
Right.
been known for our boys basketball. So to take it and from nothing to make it something and make it relevant, make
Dope.
it full of conversation and being able to
Yeah.
compete with the cornet word programs of the world, who's a top program in our area, but not just in the country also. It's been a great run for sure.
So when you look at everything that you've done, whether it's high school or, and we'll get into OTE here in a minute, but what do what have you liked in the last 2 years about bringing Lady Bradley Beal and your high school experience to Elite 40? Do you love the circuit? Do you talk about our events, talk about your team, talk about your success on Elite
So
40?
I love it because it's been centrally located for us.
Yeah.
Financially, that's been a pretty big deal. But having it in Louisville, you get a chance to play. It's 80 some courts, one
Run
facility,
for the Roses.
run for the roses. The coaches are always. It's a good deal because they are there, and it's not that they got to travel like the old days. The old days is it's 45 minutes to a gym here, and I might get a chance to see one of your younger freshman kids or sophomore kids.
Yeah.
Um, it's not that anymore, and so with Elite 40, I love it because the people that are running are accessible. I'm able to to call you and say, hey, we got an issue with blah blah blah, blah and the problem you or
Calling
Carlos.
me?
Yeah, I've called you before and said, the score ain't right, blah, blah,
I
blah, that's
know.
been posted.
And what do we
And
do? Fix
y'all
it.
take care, y'all fix it.
Fix
And
it.
so that's been, the good deal. And I think overall, it's just like a lot of other leagues. We have a bunch of very, very, very good teams that can not just compete in the Elite 40, but can compete against Select 40, compete against
Yeah.
Adidas, compete against Under Armour, compete against Nike
Right.
EYBL. And I just think it's growing every year. I think it's
Yeah.
going in the right direction, and I love being a part of
Ooh, I see Team B right hopped on.
it.
Uh-oh. Are we gonna have a are we gonna
That's
run it back? Run it
hey,
back.
be
Hey,
right. They the champs,
Spencer,
right?
Spencer, if that's you on there, run it back,
Yeah.
Spencer. We
I,
want to
we
see that.
we didn't had a couple run ins. I think last year we had a good real run in. They ended up
Ooh.
knocking us off, and so
Yeah.
be right. They be doing their thing.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, for sure. So just to try to now get back into you said that you obviously coach in high school, you coach for Lady Bradley Beal Elite, and kind of covered Elite 40. Run for Roses is obviously the Super Bowl of exposure AAU basketball, which
Mhm.
obviously is our second stop, which you've had the pleasure of playing in the last couple of years. You also did something else in August, correct me if I'm wrong. You played in overtime elite.
Mhm.
Can you kind of tell us about that? Like it was kind of like under, I feel like leading into the spring, it was kind of under wraps,
Yeah.
and we didn't really know how it was gonna pop off. We saw the intros of kids, we saw who they were introducing, you know what I mean? But tell us about your experience. How did July prepare you for that? Just tell us about your experience on the
So
team.
overtime select was probably a once in a lifetime experience. To be honest, coaching,
Yeah.
you get a chance to coach among some of the top coaches. Tamika Daly, who's over at Team Durant. You got Kim, who's with Essence, and you get a chance to coach among some of the people that are the elite of coaching. But not just that; it's also the kids. When you have, arguably the best of the best playing against each other, and
And probably not arguably, right? The top 25, top 30
yeah,
kids.
so most of the kids in the event were top 45, top 50 kids. I think they plugged in some kids here and there when kids dropped off when they had like Nike Academy and things like that. They had some kids that dropped off and they had to pick up other kids to kind of fill in uh, the holes that they had. But when you look at top to bottom when it comes to the rosters for that, it was big time. I mean, it was really, really big time. A lot of the players, so funny part is I got there a day early, right, to go to the first session. So they had two different sessions of four teams, and I got there a day early because I wanted to see
Yeah.
what it was and kind of what I'm up against and what it was going to be like, and it completely shifted my mindset. Like looking at it at first, I thought it was going to be like all-star game,
Yeah.
kind of like you
Yeah.
ain't getting there, you're not going to get in their way, they're big time, blah blah blah. But I got there and I watched the game of YWE was playing someone, and it was like electric. It was like they were guarding full court, they were running sets, and you can see in timeouts like them making adjustments, coaches and things like that. And so I looked at my assistants because we were all sitting there together, and I said, hey, we're going to have to change the mindset of what we're going to do when we get to
Yeah.
when our
This isn't
session
an all-star
starts.
game.
This is an all-star game. And so my first practice with OTE with my kids, I looked them dead in the face. I said, hey, this is not going to be roll the ball out and just go hoop. I said, we're going to get behind who's ever hooping, who's ever having that push for us at that moment. If it's Special K, if it's Bella Flemings, if it's Anaya Hall, I said, who's ever in that moment is hooping. Everybody else is going to have to play a role. And I said, look at it like college basketball. When you get to the next level, everybody is going to be good just like you.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to fit a role in the system. And I said, let's not make this a you take 5 shots, I take 5 shots.
Right.
Let's make this a, hey, if I got to go get a defensive stop for the team to win, let's do that. And the girls I had, they were amazing.
Oh,
I'm
I
going to be honest.
watched
The
y'all. I mean,
group,
it was as from a viewer standpoint, like
mhm,
so obviously I'm from Ohio.
right.
So and I coach at St. Mary. So I've seen Sanaya Hall.
Yeah,
She's 40 minutes up the road from me. We
yeah,
would have met each other in the regional final this year. You know what I mean? So to see that caliber of player and all those calibers of player around her, I was like, oh, this is gonna be
yeah. And the funny part about all of it is just like none of them had any egos or jealousy. Even, I had a couple of them where I had a time out or two where I was like, that was some selfish shit you just did in the time,
yeah.
like, hey, give it up or get to the rim, and everybody was just so receptive. Even in practice, they looked at our practice and they were just like, oh, they getting after it. I had a practice plan just like my high school I would do with anything else. I had a practice plan. We went over stuff that we were going to do offensively. Kind of had some drills and things like that. We went
Yeah.
over defensive stuff that we would do. They were shocked. They was like, "Oh, you watch film already?" I was like, "Yeah, I have film. I got clips already cut up."
You said I'm an elite 40 coach, baby. I'll be out here coaching.
Yeah, I'll be out here coaching. And so it was just the experience of it all was
Yeah.
was amazing. Even just the accommodations. They put you up in hotels and stuff like that, but it was just like anything that you needed, it was right there for you. It was accessible. You didn't have to go out your way to get anything done. Even when it came to like film for the Final Four, I was like, hey, I need clips of this different kid on this team, and they cut them up of the clips up,
Wow.
sent them directly to my phone.
Full blown experience,
Full
professional
blown
experience.
profession. It was nothing short of like a WNBA NBA type experience. The hospitality. They had a trainer with every team as far as an actual basketball trainer that was like your third coach, and even having him accessible to like the pregame stuff, like
Yeah.
it's a full day. They treated it like WNBA type things. Like those kids had media content that they had to do early in the day. They had amped up workout that they had to do 45 minutes before the game. That was like a full dynamic workout with body
Yeah.
jumps and tweaks and knees and stuff like that to kind of get you prepared. You had to go in and do your speech 35 minutes before the game because it's
Yeah.
everything is mic'd up. You got cameras everywhere, and so it was a full blown experience. That's why I said when I say like of a lifetime, like you don't get a chance to experience things like this. A lot of people, they get USA basketball and they get things like that to coach it. This was totally different. This
Do you feel as if coaching at a circuit level and also at a high level high school level obviously prepared you for that?
I do. I believe that because I have coached in a lot of high level games when it comes to high school and AAU, I think that it kind of put me in the right mindset of what needs to happen. And it's, coaching is coaching,
Yeah.
but it's really more, can you relate to your players? Can you coach and stay out of the way and not overcoach in a lot of
Yeah.
situations? And that's what OTE was. I learned a lot also. You got Kalina Smith, who's number one player in the 27 class. You got Sanaya Hall, who's number one player in the 26 class now. You got Khalees Fisher, who is going to UConn. You know what I'm saying? You got Khalid Andrews. You got all these people. You got Bella Flemings. You got all these different players that are toply ranked kids. That how do I get the best out of them in this moment and not get in the way? And I had a couple of times where after the game you go back and watch the game and you look at it and be like, made a mistake here. I made a mistake here.
Yeah.
I think they kind of respected that part because I had a couple of times where I went in the huddle and was like, that's on me. Like, and
Yeah.
it wasn't really an overcoaching thing. It was just like, I didn't know she could do that. Oh, okay. I probably
Yeah.
should do X, Y, Z in this. Even in the championship game, you lose, like to go in the locker room and then to see the emotions of the kids of feeling it. And you talking about we played 4 basketball games. This is probably like a 2.5, 3 week window that you're spending with them. and the emotions that they poured into it,
Yeah.
it was one hell of an experience for sure.
So you have this high school experience. You have your circuit elite 40 experience. Then you have this overtime select experience. So you have, sometimes in high school you have a lot of different levels and layers of kids' abilities.
Right,
In AAU, everyone's at a certain on your team, everyone's at a certain medium or above, right?
right.
And then you have this top 45. What is the gap between that top 45 and then the recruitable athletes still? Like, what do
The
they have? Like,
the mind.
what are you going to take back to your high school, into your AAU team and be like, okay, this is where they're at, and this is what.
So, I'll just speak from even just the St. Louis standpoint of it. You know, I had a couple kids that reached out and asked, and I just flat out told them, I said the difference is that the level of brands that they're creating for themselves, because the NIL and how things are moving forward. A lot of those kids at overtime had a brand. They had some type of social media following, but they're backing it up with their actual basketball play. And those kids, when we had practice, I'll just talk about Special K just to be flat out. We had practice, hour and a half. She then shot for another 2 hours after.
So it's a
She got
work
up.
it, but
So
you're building your brand though based on your work ethic though,
but
because you're backing it up, right?
you're backing it up for sure. And it's just it's the mindset too. It was the being able to be coachable mindset. Like Special K, most people don't look at it and say, "What can I tell her? She's the number one player in the country." But to be honest with you, she is still a kid though, and so like everybody has coachable moments. It's that can you find the coachable moments, relate to it, and be authentic with her when you deliver the message to her. And there was a couple of times where I looked in her face and said, "Hey, look, come on, you got to come with it."
Yeah.
Like they pushing you, they know you got to be able to come with it. And so
Yeah.
that's the gap there. To be honest, it's just the work ethic consistently. It ain't a if I gotta tell you all the time, get in the gym.
Right.
The kids that were there, you don't have to tell them nothing. They were
Right.
like, Coach, can we stay and get some more shots up? And I'm looking at them like, sure. Now, that's not to say that like at my high school kids don't do that, but I'm talking about every day. This is something that like I don't have to preach to you, that the level that you want to be at, and so the level of work that you have to actually put in. And the kids at OTE, they just different,
There's no
in a lot of aspects
reminders. No reminders.
at all. And so that's the beauty of what I just experienced. Is it was that part of like I don't have to say anything to these kids about getting in the gym or this or like even just taking care of your bodies. A lot of that, it's a lot throughout the day, and so a lot of them like, Coach, we're going back to the hotel so we can ice or whatever the case may be. We're gonna get off our feet. I don't got to tell you to get off your feet because
Right.
tomorrow's gonna be a long day because you have a game. And so it's all of those things that tie into what it takes to play at that next level and be ready, prepared to go to college next year.
Okay, random question, just off the
Okay.
dome. Best player you saw this in the summer and spring of 2024?
Oh, I just told you, Special
That's
K,
okay.
Special K. But I will say the next best, or I would say the top. I would give you like a top five. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart with the name. She just got an offer from South Carolina. She plays with Brandon Clay down in Atlanta. And she was MVP of OTE too. That's the
Oh,
crazy part. Right, complete blame for it. But a lot of kids shocked me. I mean, like Sanaya Hall, like I saw her on the tour playing with Legends U.
Ellie Ellis?
No, not Ellie Ellis. Kate
Okay.
Harper. That's who it is, Kate Harper. And it like she was probably out of everyone.
Hey, somebody got you here.
Well,
Dell, the
that's the
credit
thing.
coach. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but see, I got it right before he put it. But I'm gonna give him credit. Kate Harper was probably the most shocking out of everyone because she's not a flashy kid. She wasn't a kid that had a big brand when it came to um, name being out there. But just seeing it with my own two eyes, like I heard about her. Me and Brandon Clay talk all the time, and of course he's big time in Atlanta and
Yeah.
24/7 Sports.
Right. Right.
Seeing it with my own two eyes, she played harder than anybody on the floor. And I'm talking about 84 feet, 94 feet, 100, whatever feet you want to call the court. She guarding. She made a team better. But then I can say the same thing about Special K. Seeing Special K play all summer, a couple times on EYBL, they was in the same place that we were. Um, Actually getting to coach her and then seeing it, how she impacts the game offensively and not I got to get a shot up type thing. And she's the number one player in the country. You
Right.
looked at some of the other kids and you're just like, oh, they're shot heavy.
Yeah.
They're gonna take 25, 30 shots.
Right.
She was efficient. Kate Harper, Kalina Smith, probably the two most efficient basketball players in the country when it comes to offensive things. Um, and they showed it game after game playing against the other elite competition. Now you got to look at Sanaya Hall, who's another kid that she didn't really shock me because I saw her hoop, but it was just you 6'2", you a wing,
And
you got your
handle
pull up,
it.
you can handle it, got your pull up game, you can get to the rim, then you get out here and you play against Jazzy, Jersey Robinson. You get out here and play against
Yep.
Jersey, and it was complete. Like, I got her, coach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock up. And so when you look at some of those kids and the intangible things that they do, not just scoring the ball, but being able to impact the game in different ways, it make you view it a little different. For sure. But Kay Harper and Kalina Smith, Kalina, for me, they're gonna call me biased. I just coached her, but they ain't a player in the country that can do what she do. And
Stand
I
up.
don't care what class it is. You talking about a 15-year-old that look like,
Anybody?
listen to me.
Hey, as the
listen
kids
to
would
me.
say, are you about to say
Hey,
clock it?
right now, clock it right now. Like she
Clock it.
gonna be she gonna be the next Juju Watson. The only difference, no, I mean Juju Watson. The only difference is that she's smaller uh, than a lot of them that are getting the act that are already have the accolades is gonna be there, and so that's what makes it even more special. That what she does with the basketball passing, um, how she handles the ball screen and reads the ball screen, how she shoots coming off the ball screen, and then just being able to create for herself, step back three and making plays. Like,
You
by
know,
far, she's one of the best.
this obviously we were in the gym all spring and summer, May, July, high school, June, right? I don't know
Yep.
what you guys do in St. Louis, but in Ohio, it's high school all month of June. Then we go right into Run for Roses and everything. I saw some really, really, really good basketball this season.
Yeah.
You know, the game is growing. There is opportunity for not only brands, but growth within our game. I think that the athleticism and the skill is starting to catch up with each other. I mean, there's some really good teams not only in our league across circuits, but in our league.
Mm-hmm.
I feel. I don't know how you felt, but I saw some really really good basketball this spring and summer. After what you experienced in May, July, and August with overtime, what do you do now to prepare for AAU or even high school for 2025?
You just, to be honest, like, don't overdo it and don't overthink it. I mean,
Yeah.
because every summer things change as far as the kids that you recruit to your programs, as far as, especially with AAU. Um, it's an overhaul on the roster pretty much every year. You might be bringing back 5 or 6 kids, and then you're plugging a new 5 kids. When it comes to AAU, with high school, it's more so. Do you got incoming freshmen? Is there transfers coming in,
Yeah.
and things like that? And then with overtime select, you don't know. So one thing you'll learn about overtime select is the big bosses, they run it. You don't do any recruiting. You don't talk to any kids about coming. That's all them type front office, NBA type,
You get what
WNBA
you
type.
get.
Get what you get. And so they give you a roster and say, here's your roster. You're the coach. Figure it out. And that's what it is.
You probably got some stuff you're going to add to your bag for Elite 40 season this year, don't you?
I definitely got. So what I did was, and I do this anyway. Uh, Twitter and IG is a very, very good tool for coaches. You know,
Free. It's everywhere, isn't it?
it's free. And when I say it's a tool, there is so many baseline out of bounds plays. There are so many uh, zone sets that you see popping up and down your timeline all day. YouTube is another good resource. And so when you're not able to maybe go look at a college, practice, or
Yeah.
you can't go look at an NBA team, or that stuff is right there and it's accessible for you. And so the one take I would say is just being better about that, the inbound stuff. being able to draw stuff up on the fly, change things within timeouts with the players that you have, and using those things, and then being an artist to articulate it to your team. That's probably what I feel like I got better at with overtime because it's like, all right, everybody elite on the court. What you finna draw up that's gonna get you a wide open look?
Right.
Because with your AAU team, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. Everybody is probably good, but it's still a drop off in fluctuate of talent
Yeah.
when it comes to everything. Like each AAU team probably still got 3 to 4 certified, and then everybody else is role players and intangible kids. Which your high school is probably like two hoopers, maybe 3 hoopers, and
Yeah.
everybody else is a volleyball
Role
player, a
player.
soccer player,
Yeah.
a role player. And so they
Hmm.
all have different things, but it all still goes back to the same thing when it comes to basketball.
Yeah.
Can you make adjustments? Uh, can you on the fly go out and demonstrate exactly what I told you? Can you pay attention to detail? Which is one of the main things I talked to the elite kids about at Overtime Select. Can you pay attention to detail
Yeah.
when I draw something up in a timeout
Right.
and go out and do exactly what was drawn up on the board? So I mean, I don't know if it's a mindset change. It's just being more dialed in. When I look at stuff, how do I dissect it, and then do I add a spin off to it, or something that
Right.
I like?
Yeah.
That's really mostly what it is.
And I will say too, I think one of the beautiful things about AAU and even just playing in a circuit is every game matters, but the games move so fast that in high school, I don't want to say we can control the outcome because we can't, but it's a
Right.
controlled environment,
Yeah.
right? You got timeouts, you got dead balls, you got no crowd noise, one gym, you know what I mean? You have a
Yeah.
system. In Ohio, we don't have a shot clock, so it's a different game. But like in that AAU world, you have to, as a coach, move on so quick. And so do the
You got
kids, so
and
different
and
systems.
and the difference, like in your high school, you can have more teachable moments. Like with my high school, you looking, I got 26 games on my schedule. Okay,
Right,
and I might have a kid or two that I got to teach a lesson to. You know what I'm saying? I might have to say, you know what? I'm pulling you out in the second quarter because you ain't listening, blah, 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 and you might not play the rest of the game. But she might be one of
right,
my better kids, and it might be a thing where it say, okay, do I lose a game over it, or
mm,
I hope we still win the game. However,
right.
she needs to be taught a lesson of blah, 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 blah for the next game. And AAU is kind of like do you waste your time doing that? Do you lose the kid? Because now, there's a transfer portal in AAU.
It's
After
everywhere.
the first tournament that you play, first viewing period, it's always a transfer portal where it's just like, I don't like how coach treated me, or I'm not a focal point, or coach, I'm not getting enough minutes. And I tell them, I have the same thing across the board. It's the same thing I told the overtime select kid. You get what you earn, period. There ain't no come in and say, okay, well, I'm supposed to be top player. I'm supposed to get 35
Right.
minutes. No, it don't work. It don't work. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
You play hard. You guard and defend. You know what I'm saying? You're efficient within what you do offensively and not making it really just about you. Unless that's special, which ain't that many kids in the world that's just that special. Then you know how it goes. It's a slippery slope with it, but yeah, that's like one of my one non-negotiable. If you don't play hard and you don't defend, you don't play. It ain't got nothing to do with how many points you finna score
Right.
or none of that.
Right.
How hard are you gonna play? How do you impact the game with your team?
Let's just take a quick hurricane flight delay moment. Are you okay on time?
I'm okay on time. They just pushed it back again till 6:15 now.
Okay, so we got some time. We
So
got
we
a
got
little
some
bit of time
time.
to play catch up.
Play catch up. It's no
Okay.
rush.
So I was actually talking with some people in the office the other day that I thoroughly and have thoroughly enjoyed this WNBA playoff. I think that we've seen some really good basketball. And really good team basketball. Um, which kind of also emphasizes your point about overtime select as well
Mm-hmm.
as circuit play. So, one, who you got winning the finals? Two, two, doesn't have to be your favorite WNBA player, but who do you watch?
Okay. One, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Minnesota.
Oh, now Nafisa Collier, she
She's
is Elite.
and she from the loop. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
I'm still a Lou person versus everybody. I don't care who you play with.
They're
If,
feisty.
yeah, if you play with Fee Elite, if you play with Missouri Phenom, if you play with BBE, it don't. I don't get into the program back and forth all that. I just
Yeah,
support St. Louis
right.
kids no matter what. And Fee is from home. You know what I'm saying? I'm always just like Jason Tatum with Boston. People are like, you a Boston fan? No, I'm not a Boston fan. I'm a Jason Tatum fan.
Yeah,
Same way with Nafisa. Like I'm a Nafisa fan because I just tell people back in the day, like it was always a bunch of comparisons with different people in St. Louis. And I
yeah.
just tell people, they just like, man, she just basic. She fundamental. I was like, yeah, she Tim Duncan. Like
Mm.
how she played the game was like Tim Duncan. Like she might have had 36 points and they was all a bunch of layups. But if you look at how her game has blossomed till now in the WNBA, she can make the three, she can make the mid range, she can make the rip 1-2 dribble,
On
pull
the
up or
floor
get
for
to the
every
rim.
ball, rebound, roll around with
And
you.
it's all the intangible things when you look at her game. It's
Yeah,
just like, damn, Nafisa like that. And so like she don't get the credit because she's not flashy as everyone else. You know
but
what I'm
you want
saying?
her on your
But if
team.
I'm picking my team,
Is
I'm
she in your
definitely picking her.
starting five? Is she in your starting five?
Yeah, she's starting at the four. Pick by four.
Oh,
She a mismatch
hey,
nightmare at the four. All that. Like I gotta have her. I definitely gotta have her. She gonna probably play the most minutes because she gonna do more intangible things when it comes to the game. But if you look at like who I like is like my favorite, my favorite, my favorite. That's always a hard one. Ooh, I love Asia Wilson. I, I
she
love
can her
I love
game
the
this year. You can't argue it, man.
but I'm gonna tell you who I okay. So who I actually love the most is Angela Reese. I'm gonna tell you why I love Angela Reese the most. I love Angela Reese the most because it's just like just the dog that
Yeah,
she has in her game, and she's not really the most skillful player,
right.
but she plays harder than everyone. It's just like the
Yeah,
Kate Harper. She plays harder than everyone. Do she gotta get better finishing around the rim? Yep, I think that'll help. You know, that'll get better as the game goes on. But since she plays so hard and she dominates the boards, it puts her in a conversation. Asa Wilson is just so skilled and can shoot that thing,
man.
beat you to the rim,
Admit the problem.
and she gonna talk some shit to you. And then
Mhm.
I love the fact that like she willing to check a teammate.
Yeah,
Like what y'all over there laughing about, I ain't laughing about because I want to be a winner. And I think that's a lost art with today's generation
right.
of not being afraid to check your teammate, that's your homegirl, to be like, nah,
Hmm.
you ain't hooping right now.
Right.
Like, come on, come with it. You know,
Yeah,
come with it. But when you look at how the WNBA is being played right now, women's basketball is on the rise. It's
it's
to new
exciting.
heights. It's exciting. I always go back to talking about how about women's volleyball was, college volleyball was 10 years ago, and how exciting it was. But I think women's basketball in college and the WNBA has taken it to a whole new
Yeah.
level. And hopefully, contracts and stuff like that, changes for them in the next 3 to 5 years where it can be a real job for them and
Now,
not like a part-time job.
did you see yesterday that the NCAA is getting away with a national letter of intent?
Yeah, I mean, so when they do little small stuff like that, I always read in between the lines too. So they do things like that to actually let you run wild, but then put you back in
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
And so I think with stuff like that, even with name, image, and likeness, they are allowing them to do all of this wild stuff now. And you mark my words, in
Think
three to
they're
five,
gonna
oh, they're definitely gonna dial it back. But they're gonna dial it back in the sense of it's gonna be more controlled of what's what. It's no different than they also doing the shirt costs. I think players are gonna start getting more money off shirt costs. Also, the revenue that's brought in for universities at ticket gates and all that type of stuff. Like all of it.
you know, I think that the next 6 months to a year to 2 years is going to be really interesting just over the landscape of college sports in general.
Yeah.
As, not only just women's basketball, but all the way through, almost like treating like players like employees kind of deal, like
Hmm.
contractually and stuff. So I think it's exciting. I think it's a tad overwhelming. I think sometimes with the high school athlete, I don't know where that goes, because the transfer portal is real, but at the same time, like when we're in this AAU world and you see what we see from event to event,
Hmm.
This is going to be really, really interesting.
It's gonna be it's definitely gonna be interesting because if I'm correct about this, this is like them taking this away. It means that ain't no kid guaranteed to go to you
No,
until they walk in the doors.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And so what's funny is that it's no different than when you at your high school and kids are talking about either transferring or you got incoming freshmen. And then when you tell parents, like, I don't believe nothing about what you're talking about until I see you walk through the doors on the first day of school. That's when I believe it. And so now what you're going to have too is you're going to have a pissing war when it comes to the upper echelon of Power Fives
Yep.
that got a little bit more money that can say, all right, you supposed to be going where? Oh,
Negotiation,
oh,
crazy,
oh, okay. Well, how much you getting from Penn
right?
State? Oh, Penn State giving me 350K. Oh, okay. We're gonna give you 600K,
Right,
and it's gonna be a bidding
right,
war. And
right,
then some kids will survive it, and some kids gonna learn a hard lesson. And the hard lesson is gonna be is you're gonna drag it out of what you're doing because you're not loyal to any one
right,
situation, and then you're gonna be left in the cold. It's like the transfer portal. It's kids that they get in the portal and they say, well, I'm not being sought off enough at this place, so let me go somewhere else. And then you get
right,
in there and you're stuck in the portal. You're like, well, where are you going? Oh, I'm stuck. How you stuck? You left a situation because they only wanted you to compete more. Or they brought somebody in that was better, and you had to look in the mirror and say, my game gotta grow. And so that's what I look at when it comes to all this. It's gonna be a hard lesson taught to a lot of people because I think what they're doing, the underline of it is we're gonna let you run wild for the next 3 years with this until they get tied up in court litigations with different stuff, with lawsuits and all that. And then they're gonna start dialing it back with certain things, and they're gonna put restrictions on everything. So we'll see.
we'll see. So the day before Roses, the night before the first day when we're all in town, I think that we should have a shooting contest.
Oh, I'm gonna win that for
No,
sure.
you're not. Ain't no way.
Hey, this thing still. Oh,
Roses Court 49. We're gonna get all of them in. Hey, big giant game of knockout. Don't let it be me versus you.
oh, it's over with. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing with me, especially knockout. Like, see, so
Don't,
so so when you get like fat guy unmobile, knockout is my best game.
because you only gotta go this far.
I ain't gotta go nowhere. I, Knockout, or you want to play, what I'm saying, pig, or you want to
No,
play horse.
where
You want to
I'm
play
from,
horse.
we dot the I. That's all I'm saying. We dot the I. That's all I'm saying.
We play a game. We play a game of nothing but nets. What you gonna do when you can't hit the rim? Gotta be nothing but nets.
That's cool.
What
Sign me up.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. High level right here. High level, a midget two guard. You hear me? A midget two guard.
Not mini.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
mini.
I'm talking about many. I'm telling you. I'm trying to tell you what I know.
Oh
I'm trying to
Lord.
tell you what I
Oh
know.
Lord.
I could do this for sure. They're like nothing else I can do this.
Okay. Elite 40 question. Who do you have to really prepare for? And like who do you really enjoy playing against? You had
Ooh,
some good matchups early this past year.
I did. I had some.
You had the gauntlet in April live period.
Yeah, I had like I had to question what y'all had going on because I looked at my schedule. I know, hold on, don't
Hey,
take this personal, because we could talk about this. I was
elite exposure.
I was looking and I was like,
I know we talked about it.
I said, how I get all of them?
You got
It
what
was like,
you got Team B right, Smack Lady Ballers.
I forgot who
Uh,
all it was
always
because it
100.
it was it was like 5 of the 6 teams was undefeated at the time, and we was all in the same pool, and I was sitting there looking crazy like, hold up.
No, for real. You walked up to me like this.
I said, hold up, now what we got going on here? Like how we all this? But what I will say is that like I actually love that
Yeah.
part of it. You know what I'm saying? I miss the old days of when AAU didn't have actual circuits, and everybody was in the same tournament. Like
Mhm.
all of the top echelon teams was like they were all there. It didn't have nothing to do with no Adidas, it had nothing to do with no Under Armour, it had nothing to do with no
Yeah.
Nike, nothing. It was like, that's one of the top
If you're
teams,
an
and they ain't even got no shoes.
aqua, you're an aqua.
Period. And that's the part I actually love about Elite 40 is like we have a bunch of really, really good basketball teams. It's not a bunch of teams that have a bunch of stars. To be
Right.
real honest, it's not a, when I look at our league and hope no one takes this the wrong way. I think our just like a mid-major league.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of mid-major, very, very good basketball players that are solid. That's going to go off to have good careers, and a lot of them going to go mid-major and then end up playing Power Five because they have intangible things that some Power Five kids don't have. And some of those kids, you know how it goes. They can't fit into situations. I think a lot of kids in our Elite 40 are good enough to go somewhere and fit in,
Yeah.
and then blossom the rose when it comes to what they actually want out the game.
And two, what I really like about it too is there's middle or above. There's really no bottom. So all the games are competitive, all the games are good.
Yep.
And that's why I said, like, I really, this year, I saw some really, really good
Yeah.
basketball. And a lot
Yeah.
of the teams surprised me, like, not surprised me, but, we got to the national championship, and there was a lot of teams that were in that final four that I was like, oh, they got hot at the
Well,
right time.
it's crazy because this is like we played Smack. Which one of this? We played
Smack Ballers.
we played Connor's team, right?
Carlos.
No, we played not Carlos. We played Connor's team.
Who?
Not Con. We played
Dre?
no, not Dre. We played the 17th.
Tucker.
Tucker. So we played Tucker's team, right? In was it St. Louis? No, it wasn't St. Louis. Might have been St. Louis. I forgot. No, we played them in Cincy. So we played them in Cincy. I think we were winning 14, 15 points the whole game. He comes back and beats me in double
Buzzer.
overtime at the
At
buzzer,
the
right?
buzzer.
And then he goes on and wins Aqua at Roses
Yep.
on ESPN. And he's playing somebody from another league that I feel like, from he's playing
Team Trae Young.
yeah, from Select 40, I think. Or what Adidas.
Adidas.
No, Adidas.
Adidas.
And they go and win Aqua. And so when you look at that, it's just like, man, like our league is better than what people probably get it credit for. But I
Mm-hmm.
think if you look at our league, if you look at Select 40 League, you look at Nike UI Beal, you look at it's probably about 15 teams to 20 teams in each league that could probably arguably everybody beat everybody.
Yeah.
It's the difference is that you look at some leagues, they have the Kalina Smiths of the world that they might run out 40 in a game and you scratching your
Yeah.
head, but you don't see it every day. But
Right.
in our league, it's a lot of very, very good basketball players that I feel like mid-major coaches they love our league.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to in 2025?
Just to get back out there and get competitive. To be honest, like it's like after you experience what I just experienced, it's like the itch now. It's like, man, I can't wait to get back to see
Yeah.
because I know how it goes. Like people get a chance to watch you coach on that level, and now you become a target when it comes to you coaching against people that they want to beat you just because they said, oh, well, if he got picked to coach in that,
Right.
you know, how am I going to be able to, out coach him in a scenario or situation, or I'm down five with a minute and a half to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
and I used to be that person. Like I used to actually live to be able to coach against top programs or top coaches that I knew were like on the cusp of getting a college job or being a college assistant in maybe a year
Yeah.
or two or whatever case it be, and looking and be like, oh, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? And then when you go win those games and you know that your team might not be the most talented team, but your team is the most well coached and well prepared team, that right there makes you feel great, makes you feel special.
Okay. As we kind of wind this conversation down, because we could just go forever, I feel like.
No, we good. We ain't
Because
no rush.
you be talking my ear off.
That's what we does. Listen, like I gotta talk your ear off. I got to like talking your ear off makes you open your eyes to
You
what.
right. You right. You
Yeah,
right.
like
You right. I'm
especially
busy at
you.
events.
Yeah, you busy, and I'll be like, what you mean you busy? Like you don't got 5 minutes to talk to me. Like you gotta have 5 minutes to talk to me. You don't got to
Well,
do nothing else in the
now that you
season.
big time, now that you don't big time me now,
I ain't been.
big time.
Listen, one thing people gonna tell you about me. If I rock with you, I rock with you. If I don't, you gonna know I don't. Period. There ain't no in between with me. There ain't no none of that.
Right.
If I rock with you, I rock with you. You know what I'm saying? I rock with Elite 40. I love what you guys do. I love that you guys are personable when it comes to being at
Right.
events and we can talk to you about certain things. Like I can't, look at it no different. And like for me, like I said, for me, like I love it. You know what I'm saying? You cool.
Stop. Stop. Well, I will say, all jokes aside, You are great to have. You do get on my nerves, but
I get on
however,
everybody's nerves.
I'm going to give you your flowers. You had one hell of a spring and summer. You deserve it, John. You really do.
Thank you.
You really
I
do.
appreciate that.
You do things well, my friend. You do things well.
I
You do things
try.
well.
I try. Right.
Yes.
So my people stay on me. I have a great supporting cast of friends. To be honest,
Yeah.
that they come and watch me coach at AAU. I had a bunch of friends that flew in to Atlanta just to watch me coach
Yeah.
in overtime select.
Right.
And these are people that support right, wrong, and different, but like they gonna give it to me, right, wrong, and different. And so
Well, in this job, you got to have that or you won't survive. You know what I mean? Like you won't. When you coach high school, when you coach AAU, and you choose this life, you got to.
yeah,
You have
yeah, that's
to.
that's 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 for sure. That's for sure. So
So, are you ready to catch this J work at Roses or no?
I mean, like I'm not really worried about any of
Oh,
that because it's just
okay.
like
Okay. Our next live, maybe episode 32, we going live from the Roses Court on a shooting competition.
light work. See, you don't understand. Like one thing about me, it don't matter what it is. It's on TV. TV. Like I'm I'm that guy. All right, I show up in the big
Okay.
game, and you didn't
That's
see me.
cool.
Now you didn't see me on the stage coaching in the big atmospheres, and I'm not shook. So put the camera in front of me. You're gonna see that jumper going in. You're gonna be like, I cannot believe. Yeah, it's that for sure. So
Hey, it's
episode
on.
30, episode 32, you can
Well,
forget
I'm just
about
saying,
it.
I'm just giving a number. I don't know what episode it's gonna be, but I'm gonna tell you this. You better start working on it.
Listen, it's like riding a bike for me. When you're a shooter, it don't leave you. Like I can take. I remember one time I hadn't probably shot a ball in probably like 3 months. Literally, hadn't shot a ball in 3 months. One of the girls was talking stuff in practice, and I'm like, all right, let's play shoot. We can play shooting game. Light work. If she loses, everybody runs. What you think happened? Everybody
You,
runs.
hey, hey,
I'm just saying.
you weren't gonna run.
Oh, absolutely not. That's why I gotta win. Be ready? No, 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 thank you. I get on the bike though. I get on the bike.
Man, this spring's gonna be fun, man.
Yeah, I can't I can't wait because like I said, like just being able to come back off, the natural high of that. You get back
Yeah,
down to the level of coaching AAU, coaching high school. I mean, high school is for me is 2-3 weeks away
right.
with practice,
Same.
and it'll be a lot different for sure, for sure. But it'll still be the same mindset as far as just being prepared, pouring into my kids to
Yeah,
make sure I can get the best out of them. It ain't gonna never really be about wins and losses. I am one of the cliche people that says this to my kids. Like, look, I know you think this is about wins and losses. For me, it ain't really about wins and losses. It's about teaching life lessons.
yeah,
How do I pour into you and get the best out of you? And then will you look at this in 10 years from now and say, damn, coach was real? Like, I appreciate, everything you said. And I just experienced it, like, just being around OT kids, for them, a lot of them to reach out and be like, coach, like, look, I didn't play for a lot of people, but ain't nobody got me together like you got me together with this mindset or whatever the case, whatever it was, just buying in or just building chemistry with your kids. I think with today's game, you have to be able to do a lot of that now. It's not just about you anymore as a coach. A lot.
yeah,
Old school coaches, it was about them
yeah,
per se.
yeah,
Most of them, not all of them, but in this day's age, like your chemistry with your kids, it'll show in the identity of who your team is too. So if
yeah,
you that laid back person, they might be laid, but if you that person, you're gonna get after them.
yeah,
And you didn't see me, fuss and go off
yeah.
in a timeout, and it's like,
That's
look
what
at,
that's what it is.
yeah, he just said that. Yeah, I just said that. I just said that to him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who I am too. So I don't,
yeah.
like that's sometimes what they need. Sometimes what they need is different. You know what I mean? In moments. So here's my last question for you because I love asking other coaches this.
Okay.
What is the John Albert brand? So
The
when you're your coaching brand, what is your brand?
toughness, toughness.
Okay.
I mean, for me, and it's not about a real physical thing. It's just the mentality. Is your mentality tough enough to
Yeah.
compete at a high level? Is your wit and your brain ready to
Yeah.
be, prepared and detailed about what's ever thrown at you, physical wise. Can you get out here? And because I've always coached teams that have not really been the most talented teams, but my teams play harder than most
Yeah.
teams, and a part of that is a part of the toughness. How hard can you play, or will you play,
Hmm.
and will you set aside your egos, your personal goals, for, like people say, the name across your chest?
Right.
Will you sacrifice something for yourself for the greater good of the team?
Right.
And for me, toughness has always been a thing that, like, I tell my teams, like, we don't do nothing else. We're gonna get in here and fight. We're gonna compete. We're gonna play
Right.
hard. We're gonna be tough about everything we do.
Right.
If I'm the number 2,000 player playing against the number 5 player in the country, can I make everything hard and tough for her?
Right.
Or am I gonna come in here, lay down, and be soft about it? But you gotta have some kind of toughness to play for me.
I
You
agree.
gotta have tough and thick skin. And so
Hmm.
toughness for me is just that's that's my thing there. How tough are you gonna be when it comes to playing this brand of basketball?
I love it, John. And I do see that. I see that when I watch you. So from the league lady to John Albert, thank you for for us having you tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Safe trip to wherever it is that you're going.
It
I
don't look like I'm going nowhere. It don't look like it. It just said it just puts me back to 6:30 now. Yeah.
I mean, what's happening?
I
You know what? But hey, it's not gonna ruin this interview.
Oh no. We had a good one. We had a good
We
one.
did. We
We had
did.
a good one.
Well, I will say from everybody at Elite 40, we appreciate what you guys bring to the league. I think you have a fabulous story. I think you're a great coach. I think you obviously are valuable and good at what you do. So just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Hey, I appreciate you. It's funny because you being in Nike Elite School and us being one at the Shine. I got a chance to. You remember I used to reach out and be like, "Hey, let's get it. Let's set a game up."
You're
You
right.
know, I like to set a game up, but y'all rules are different from ours as far as
We can
playing out of state.
only we can only travel to a non-touching state
Yeah,
once, and then we go to the chosen ones with LeBron
which
on the West Coast.
which,
So
which makes sense because I would be doing the same if I had the opportunity.
we
Um,
well, right, but it does cut into places that we can go in bigger cities just being in
yeah,
the Midwest.
yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe we need to, if that trip ever goes, maybe we need to run it up.
yeah. One day we'll
Hey,
get a chance to come
hey,
come across that opportunity. But I appreciate you for sure, definitely for having me on and getting a chance to tell my story, my experience, not just in OT Select, but also with Elite 40 and
yeah.
just my high school experience altogether.
No, it's great. We'll probably have to recap this conversation. There's probably things we didn't cover, things that are going to pop up, but I know one thing: I'm going to see you and I'm going to talk to you. That's
That's a
for sure.
fact. That's a fact. So, just a phone call away, a text away, hit me. We'll get a chance to, chop it up always. Um, I actually am going to relaunch my podcast stuff too, also with
Okay.
nothing but facts with more better sports. So I'll probably be having you on and
Oh,
a bunch of other coaches on
oh,
and players on and so it'll be fun. My stuff is more of a funny, real talk,
yeah,
dialogue,
yeah. I
back and
get it.
forth, shit talking, which
Yeah,
that's I feel like I'm king at that. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
I
I will be on.
yes, I know, trust me. But yeah, I love this. This was great, especially seeing how the flight has been delayed 19 times, and we didn't know
That's
if we was
wild.
gonna be able to do it. But I'm happy I got an opportunity to do it
Well,
anyway.
when you land the plane, will you tag us on Instagram? And then when you get to your destination, will you tag us on Instagram so we know you're safe?
I'm gonna tag you, and I'm gonna be reposting everywhere, for sure, for sure.
Hey, if
Uh,
anything, it's a good story.
hey, if nothing else, it's a good story, right?
It's a good story. All right. Well, it's League Lady out, John. Good luck to you. We'll see you in May.
See you in May. Peace.
See you, buddy.